Hey guys, Drifter here. Today I've got a video for you about inverted controls, and you're probably asking yourself right now, why in the world would anybody play inverted? Because it doesn't make any sense. Why is that an option in our games, and why do people use it? The gameplay you're going to get to see today is me using the MP11 Squeaker, which is the fastest firing gun in Advanced Warfare. Going to be doing some good work with it, and I'm playing inverted in this video, as I am in every video, because I play inverted. I'm an inverted player, and I've gotten crap about it for quite a long time, and for good reason, because you're going to ask, why would anybody want to do that? Why does it make sense to move the stick down to look up and move the stick up to look down, and you don't even do it on the left-right axis? Why is it only the y-axis gets inverted? Why does that feel natural to people? Well, I've got some historical reasons for you today and some scientific ones. The scientific ones have diagrams and other videos and stuff like that. We'll hit the historical ones real quickly first. First of all, way back in the day, some of the most popular games on PC were flight simulator games, like Microsoft Flight Simulator, stuff like that. I don't think many of you realize just how many PC gamers used to play that, and they got popular. They got very popular, and people kind of got used to controlling their viewport like that. So when first-person shooters came along that actually had a y-axis, unlike Doom and Wolfenstein, which are really more like 2D shooters, people kind of preferred those controls, so they built it into the game. Some of the first FPS games ever made were inverted by default. Sometimes it was because of this flight simulator market, and sometimes it was because the developers genuinely preferred playing inverted and assumed that other people would too, and made it that way by default. I think GoldenEye was one of them. If I'm not mistaken, I think the original Red Faction maybe had that. I remember playing inverted on that game. I don't know if it was default or not, but some of the first games just had that as the default option because it was developer preference, and this was back when games cost like $50,000 to make, when they weren't mega budget AAA titles where they could just kind of do whatever they wanted, and people played it and they got used to it that way. And some people, again, their first experience with the first-person shooter is with this default inverted control, and they think that's how it should be, and they play and they kind of get stuck with that and they kind of learn it and they don't grow out of it. But what about those people that prefer it? What about those of us born maybe after 1990 or 70 for that matter, in the modern era where we've had both options, where part of the tutorial for either game is where it asks you if you want to play inverted or not? Why do we still choose inverted? And it all has to do with where you view your consciousness and control points. Now they're similar but unrelated topics. Some people think of themselves, the you, the voice that's inside your head, either being in the front of your head, near your frontal lobe, kind of just behind or on your eyeballs. This is pretty normal. And some people think of themselves as being more in the back of their head, somewhere kind of behind the person. It's uncommon, it's not rare, it's not weird, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just a slightly different perception than normal. And this will change your preference on, we'll say, how you would control a camera lens. These are the kind of people that control the camera lens from the front, moving the lens up and down, or from the back, aiming the back up and down, back ahead, front ahead, same thing. But I did make this little diagram for you. This is Bob. He's an everyday normal guy that I drew poorly in paint, and I made his eyes really huge just so that they stand out. But if you wanted to make Bob look up, most of you would probably push up on a thumbstick or a mouse, and you're thinking of yourself as being near the camera lens or eyes, and you just kind of pull the eyes up or camera lens up, and that makes him look up. But some of us would perhaps think about pulling the back of his head down, therefore making the eyes look up, because we think of ourselves a little further back. The concept is really the same. It doesn't really matter which point of the head you move, it just kind of pivots because it's on an axis, and it depends on where people see themselves in control. Another example that I can make just here at home, just maybe this will make it a little bit more clear, is with a doll that my wife has. His name is Adolf because she drew a little Hitler stash on him. I glued a control freak to the back of his head, but you can imagine if that was your person, your COD guy in game or whatever, and you put your thumb, if you wanted to make him look down, you wouldn't pull it up, you would actually push it forward, and he would look down, and you would pull it back, and your COD guy would look up. And this sort of inverse control is where people get the idea to play inverted. That's why it feels natural, because they assume the control point is on the back of their head. This is just a short video, some little facts for you, something that I thought that you might find useful or interesting. For those of you that play inverted, it might explain your preferences a little bit, and for those of you that don't, and maybe that have friends who play inverted, it might explain why. And it's not just that they're crazy or they demand to be different, it's just how they see things. And again, if you see yourself in the back or front of the head or controlling the eyes or the back of the camera or anything, it doesn't really say anything intuitive about your personality. This isn't a left brain, right brain thing, a left hand, right hand. It's just one of those little preferences that people have, just like colors, just a small thing. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something useful. If you did, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. Drifter out.